So HBAR has tapped into this range that I set out previously, where I mentioned I was looking at for a corrective move to the upside made up of a WXY structure. And of course, this target here is the Y wave target. And shortly after, we then saw a reversal to the downside where we ended up breaching past this level here. And that then triggered a change of character on smart money concept, which confirmed that we were on a bearish trend. And so I will be looking at for a continuation to the downside where it's possible that we breach past this level here at 22.55 cents. And that will also further confirm that we are on a bearish trend. But I do see this as being short-lived, given that I am still tracking this wave 4, which will have to be made up of a bigger WXY structure. And then shortly after, I will be looking out for that reversal to the upside where we can then begin to track this wave 5. And so if I go in the 4-hour chart, what I'll do is I'll set out the next key target for HBAR. So if I bring the Fib tool and bring this to over here at 27.65 cents. And so the next key target for HBAR would be anywhere between 19 cents to 20 cents. And you can also see that the buy order, which is highlighted in blue, so this section here, also sits within this range. And so if we do see this move to the downside, I do see this as a good opportunity to be buying in at a low price, given that I am looking out for that reversal to the upside. And one could also argue that what we are forming is a bear flag. So if I quickly draw that in, so we have this upper trend line and a lower trend line. Here you can actually see that we ended up losing this lower trend line, where we saw this move to the downside, we retested the lower trend line and got rejected, and then we saw another push to the downside, which is a bearish signal. And so, yeah, one could argue that this here is the flag. And then we have this move to the downside, which is the flagpole. So if I reposition this to over here, what you can see is this flagpole more or less taps into this range here. And so, yeah, this is the next move that I'll be looking out for on HBAR. And as far as this Y wave goes, there's one of two structures that could form this Y wave, with one of which being a bigger WXY structure. So if I draw that in, so this WXY structure would form the W wave, and then we see a corrective move to the upside to form the X wave, followed by another push to the downside to form the Y wave. And so if I just very quickly draw this in again, so this is what I'm looking at for right now to form this W wave. And so if I set out the next key target short term for HBAR, so 26.039 cents. And so next key target short term for HBAR would be anywhere between, if we round it up, 21.912 cents to 22.646 cents. I say round it up, I just say it exactly how it is. And so if I draw this in, so this here would then form the W wave, and then shortly after we'll then see a corrective move to the upside to form the X wave, followed by another push to the downside to form the Y wave. So that could be one structure that would form the Y wave. The other structure could be a 5-way structure. So if I remove this, what we'll need is for HBAR to extend beyond the 1.236 level and retrace towards the 1.618 level. And in doing so, that will then trigger a 5-way structure. So if I remove this for now and draw that in, so essentially this recent move to the downside would form the wave 1, and then this would form the wave 2. And then as a minimum requirement, the wave 3 would have to reach the 1.618 level. And then we see the wave 4 and the wave 5 play out, where of course that fifth wave will then tap into this range also. And so, yeah, of course, this is something that will play out in the next couple of days or next few days, on the time will tell really. The other way of knowing if we have a 5-way structure or a WXY structure is if whether or not we extend beyond this region here. And with that being said, on the 4-hour chart, you can see that we are within the oversold conditions. And on the 8-hour chart, again, we are within the oversold conditions. And on the daily chart, we are within the oversold conditions. And so at some point, I'll be looking out for that reversal to the upside. But first and foremost, I'll be looking out for a further push to the downside, where it's possible that we actually retest the 200 DMA on the daily chart. We find support at that level, and then we see that reversal. And from then on, we can then begin to track the wave 5. And depending on how deep the wave 4 goes, it's possible that the wave 5 has the potential to go even higher than the initial target that I set out initially. And so if I very quickly bring in the fib tool and assuming that we end up reaching this level here, what you can see is HBAR has the potential to go even higher than the initial target that I set out. But of course, that's something I'm going to be tracking in the days and weeks to come, and I'll keep you guys updated. And so, yeah, that's just my update on HBAR. Hopefully you found it useful, and if you did, then feel free to hit that like button, and if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.